Why am I not attributing the problems in the sector to the previous administrations? And I will attribute the problems of the sector to the current minister because we know missing cables. People have actually stolen from us that the minister himself told us. Why are they not going after those that stole the containers? That is a slap in the face of the people of this country. And if you are going to stretch the argument that yes, Don Mohammed's administration also contributed, then you have to stretch it back and say that indeed Professor May's administration also laid a solid foundation, for which reason it culminated into what Don Mohammed did and what the NPP took over. Then you go back and say yes, Professor May also took over from John Ejekum Kufuor, and that John Ejekum Kufuor took over from Rawlings, and we have to go back to the days of Azambuda. What are we doing to ourselves? That would be absurdity. So,
all right, I'm moving be akwaba. Now I'm for Bremega TV and platform. So, Solomon Owusu Eye, the member of Movement for Change, senior member Ankasa na Urewe, in fact, our loud mouth, Nekasa, Okasebi Ayana, Epo Esim, Okasebi Ayana, inso ejinam na, or the insembi ababontin, Uti nsema Ura Solomon Owusu Eka, Utimizu Urewe, he is blessed when it comes to politics. Any analyzing policies in politics. Now, Chemua, NSC na Sabina Hodin Ecosono, NDC for Abom Homodin, no the umfa, umfa praises and I say umfa Abasubon Mubia, say Yura, Dr. Andrews, Esiama. Is it Andrews, right? Dr. Esiama, our the Bank of Ghana governor. Ono enode someone odi abasubon ebemano na MPP for no monam especially Bawumia ka say oh ye good for oil policy ni keka wono chiremu a esi den na MPP for tenase ka say COVID any Russian war na ma omo entimi and revive economy ni ye na enede say enema ekoyi a omo kroya san ejina baby ka say US tariff ena omo eda to man so ma sidini so agina nan so ko hwisem omo so kroya kiremo mu so see good for oil ya policies yo mo de baye ena masabre economy no any sidino stabilizer na ase na hodi akoso. Solomon Owusu ensem no ode to dwa e wo alaji and alaji show one one NDC communicator bi. Now, Sema woman say this woman is very powerful and she is brilliant and intelligent. Yanko, Yanko Senibi, Yakoba, Yabeto, so subscribe to the channel. Now I like it, Madina share. Now for any berry Hanum, you are number one authentic platform. Yenti and Senibi, Yakobe Betwas.
For the cedi to depreciate, it means demand for the dollar exceeds supply. That is the fundamental rule. If demand exceeds supply, definitely you would need more cedis to be chasing the dollars, and that is how come it depreciates. If the cedi is to stabilize, that means we are also raking in more dollars into the country by way of exports or foreign direct investment. And foreign direct investments would only arrive when there is a renewed sense of confidence in the economy. So that is where we are. There are several factors that one can consider. If you manage your expenditure side of an economy very well, what it means is that you will not have loose monies in the hands of so many people. If you are not expending the money that you have into frivolous projects like building cathedrals, then you can be assured of controlling expenditure. If you are not overexpending on trivial projects that do not exist, like paying $2 million for a sky train that never was, then you can expect the public finances to be managed and managed properly. If you are not engaging the services of companies such as SML to go and collect revenues that are already being done by customs and paying them $1 billion every year, allowing this money to get into the hands of people that are not supposed to get, then you can be assured of controlling expenditure, and by so doing, controlling inflation, and for that matter, controlling your exchange rate. So that is where we are at the moment. I have heard our brothers from the New Patriotic Party side say that the cedis stability is as a result of what they did in the past. And this whole preaching or gospel or crusade is led by the former vice president and the flag bearer of the party in the just ended elections, Dr. Bawumia. And you rightly said, you also read what his age. I thought his age position was needless, because once the OPM was spoken, whatever the age said was immaterial. So in a nutshell, what they are telling us is that Dr. Bawumia, his positions or his policies are the ones working today. Is that not the case? And that they say that the idea of go for Forex was actually brought in by Dr. Bawumia. That's why I realized that people don't take us serious. So the idea of gold for Forex predates even the NPP. The idea that Ghana will be buying gold and then saving it with the Bank of England, which I have disagreed. That why would we have Bank of Ghana and we will be saving our gold in England so that they use it to cushion their economy? So it cannot be true. In any case, when the New Patriotic Party was in power, this policy was there, but the cedi kept surging. And anytime we came here, what was the reasons adduced to the depreciation of the cedi? They gave us two fundamental reasons. And I hope you have not forgotten. And I hope Ghanaians will not forget so soon that we were told that because of Russia-Ukraine war, it was the reason the cedi was depreciated. And why was it depreciated? Because prices of crude had become so expensive on the international market, to the extent that we needed more cedis to be chasing the dollar. Now, as we speak, I'm not too sure whether the war between Russia or involving Russia and Ukraine has come to an end. To the best of my knowledge, it is still there. To the best of my knowledge, sanctions imposed on Russia are still persistent. To the best of my knowledge, nothing has changed. In any case, that argument can never hold water, because Ghana is a net exporter of oil or crude. And so if the prices of crude were so high on the international market or in the international market, what it meant was that we were also going to benefit as a country from high prices. And that the difference in prices could have cushioned our currency to stabilize it. So that couldn't have been the reason. We talk of COVID. COVID encountered the entire world. So that couldn't have been the reason. Now, you remember in the early days of this administration's taking over, when the cedi showed signs of stabilizing, I don't know how they got this theory that because the United States of America was engaged in a trade war with Russia and the rest of the world, that was how come the dollar was depreciating against the cedi. I didn't understand it, because it's a matter of demand and supply. Were they saying that by that singular act of the US, Ghana all of a sudden has stopped trading in dollar? We were still importing crude. We are still an import dependent economy, that every day in and day out we need dollars. So when they realized that that argument couldn't suffice, then quickly they had to run away. You see, when you are a political party, you need to be strategic in how you communicate your message. Because whether we like it or not, this cedi at some point will begin to also depreciate again. That is our economy. It is not rocket science. And so you that is claiming that it is because of your works you did in the past. Should the cedi begin to depreciate against the dollar, should we take it that as a result of your policies in the past, that is why it is also depreciating again? We cannot be doing that. So the only mandate that has been given to the Bank of Ghana is for them to stabilize our currency. So if the currency of the government of Ghana is not stabilizing, the only institution that I will lay the blame at their doorsteps will be the Bank of Ghana, by extension the governor of Bank of Ghana. And that is why if there is any stability, I will not have any difficulty in attributing it to the works of the governor of Bank of Ghana and by extension his management team. And here let me say, Dr. Esiama, you are doing well. Continue doing whatever you are doing, because tomorrow if it starts depreciating, the same mark that is praising you today will be the same mark that will come and bash you. What policy are you talking about? They say gold for oil. Did you ever see any policy read to you concerning the gold for oil? It was a pure scam. And if this government or this administration was that serious, they would be investigating that gold for oil business. How much of gold did we exchange for anyone? Where were we getting the oil from? Who were the middlemen involved in the business? So that we are told. But as usual, politics. In opposition, they will be saying something different. When they come to power, it is a total, we the people of this country have to be begged that oral must work. When you yourself have promised us that operation recover all loot, you didn't say some loot. All loot. You expect us to come and beg you to implement it? No way, hell no. And so, Senna, this is where we are. I would rather say that it is the Bank of Ghana that is doing something that is working for all of us. And so the idea that the NPP wants to associate itself to this whole what do you call it, glory, should be discarded. In any case, if you were to stretch the argument, Senna, that as a result of their policies, then we can also stretch the argument that the NPP took over from the NDC in 2017. Is that not the case? When the NPP took over in 2017, Ghana was already in the IMF. Check NPP's argument over the years. Anytime they are making arguments on the economy and the good indicators, which period do they use? 2017, 2018, 2019. Then they will tell you that but for COVID in 2020, things wouldn't have changed. Now, you came to inherit an economy. And Mr. Believe me, once you go to IMF, some of these indicators begin to shape because you have been restricted in certain areas. You understand? At that time, they said as a result of their good policies, why didn't they attribute the stability of the economy those days to John Mahama? And I disagree that the NDC will take credit between 2017, 2018, 2019, and so on and so forth. We give a government to anybody with liabilities and assets. Once you take over, whatever happens under your regime is for you. And that is how come today I can look straight into the face of the one handling the energy ministry and say, look, you got to work. Why am I not attributing the problems in the sector to the previous administrations? And I will attribute the problems of the sector to the current minister because we know missing cables. People have actually stolen from us that the minister himself told us. Why are they not going after those that stole the containers? That is a slap in the face of the people of this country. And if you are going to stretch the argument that yes, John Mahama's administration also contributed, then you have to stretch it back and say that indeed Professor May's administration also laid a solid foundation, for which reason it culminated into what John Mahama did and what the NPP took over. Then you go back and say yes, Professor May's also took over from John Ejekum Kufuor, and that John Ejekum Kufuor took over from Rawlings, and we have to go back to the days of Azambuja. What are we doing to ourselves? That would be absurdity. So give the credit to the current administration. Whatever happens with this administration is their sole problem. Now, beyond that, so now the reason why I said that we are likely to go back to what is, if we do not do certain things, You and I know that even toothpick we import into this country. You and I know as an economy or as a country, annually we are told that we import $100 million worth of tomatoes from Burkina Faso. Now the supply is not coming because Captain Traore has established factories converting the raw tomatoes into what? Tomato paste. Interestingly, we imported close to $1 billion worth of tomato paste, listen to me, into this country. When in the 90s we had been treated to slangs from Dr. Prakut, Akumadan tomato. You never heard that word? You heard it? So if we have a place in this country called Akumadan, and for viewers, Akumadan tomato is Akumadan. Forget about these slangs. And Akumadan is in the Official district. Those enclaves, they have lands suitable for the cultivation of what? Tomatoes. So this is where policies must dictate how best can we as a country make sure that the Akumadan that is noted for the production of tomatoes, the Ministry of Agri can move in and help the farmers to grow tomatoes in large quantities, so that the $100 million we could have expended in importing these tomatoes from Burkina, even if we are to do half of it, it means we'll be saving what? $50 million in this country. There was a policy of what? One district, one factory. Nobody must discount that policy. That if you are producing the tomatoes there, then it has to go with what? The establishment of factories. So that we can also turn the raw tomatoes into the tomato paste. And if we are importing close to $1 billion worth of tomato paste and we even half it to $500 million, that means we still have dollars in this country. These are contained in our great transformation plan, which we explained severally. That import substitution is so crucial for the development of this country. We are importing close to $300 million worth of poultry and Gugofunu, dead poultry from the European Union. I understand you have a policy called Kukonkitikiti. I endorsed it at a point, because it's a good thing if it is going to be implemented and implemented well. What it means is that yet again we can have dividends by halving the importation of what? Poultry. And once you do that, it means you have enough, or you don't need to exchange more cedis for dollars to be able to import these. We import a lot of vegetable oils into this country, running into several billions of dollars. What does it take? Then again, we need to invest more into vegetable production and add factories to it. It doesn't take much. And also, the cocoa that we have been relying upon, that is giving us headache, ton, just go and buy cocoa and go and sell. We already have off-takers, that it is giving this country headache. At the moment, we are owing close to 32.5 billion in that sector. How can we sell cocoa? Cocoa that already has market. Now we know the sellers. How can we incur a debt of 32 billion? We need to shape it. And in doing so, I would also suggest, as our great transformation plan suggested, that under no circumstance must we go and do syndicated loans outside the country. So that doesn't make sense that every year we go on to the international market and borrow $1.2 to $1.3 billion to come and buy cocoa. Do we use dollars to buy cocoa from the cocoa farmers? In any case, COVID taught us that the Bank of Ghana had the capacity to even advance loans to the government of Ghana to the tune of 10 billion. So what it means is that we can even float government bonds to be able to go and buy our cocoa in cedis, so that when we sell it in dollars, we get our dollars here, and then we cushion it, we use it to cushion our currency. But they won't do it because that is where the coefficient is. This go to Europe and America to go and do syndicated loans. The arrangement fees and so on and so forth. People who don't want to. But I believe that if you are doing research, this must be a topmost priority of this administration, so that we don't have to go and borrow dollars to come and buy cocoa in city, just like they have done with the gold board. The concept of the gold board Some of us thought that we will still strengthen the PMMC, but whether you like it or it has come to stay. Now, the most important thing is that we do not replicate the problems with the cocoa board. Because it's the same concept. That every gold in this country from small scale miners is sold to the government of Ghana. In the same way, cocoa is supposed to be sold to the government of Ghana. So that through that, we generate the much needed forex. Because gold then will be bought from the small scalers with cedis. And at the end of the day, when the government sells it, it gets the dollars. Pharmaceutical. We expend so much importing pharmaceuticals into this country. At least not less than $700 million. Yet we have pharmaceutical companies in this country. And so it's another area that must be prioritized, so that at the end of the day, the government will not be expending much of our forex to go and buy pharmaceuticals when we could engage local producers and also strengthen the herbal industry or the local practitioners to be able to fill in the gap. So now this is the only way. This is the only way we can ensure the stability of our currency for a long period. For now, there is a renewed confidence in this economy. Take it or leave it. Because what we were treated to in the last 8 years, I'm very surprised that sometimes people feel that 2 million Ghanaians did not vote. I don't know whether they have done any census to give them that indication that indeed 2 million Ghanaians are still living. So I can tell you that every weekend. Now, I mean, in those days I used to go to maximum 4 funerals every weekend. These days, if you don't take care, every minute there is a funeral. There is no 2 million people anywhere. They are dead. People have starved to death. We are talking about 2 million people.
Some have left the country.
Majority have died. Or you don't read obituary of late. They want to create the impression in your mind that there are some 2 million people sitting somewhere, so that they criminally put them into the voter register for ghosts to come and vote. They are non-existent. They are dead. Why wouldn't people die when there wasn't any job in need? We were told by Dr. Michael Ejekumado, we know him, come on, that his life was destroyed by Akufo-Addo's administration, and that 800 of his colleagues had left this world because of bad management. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? That today, because we have short memories, all of a sudden, the former vice president who couldn't speak to economic matters when he was in government is now telling us or preaching economy to us. And said, I want to entertain this. No, we have to be serious. This was the government that gave haircuts to elderly people, to the extent that it caused the former Chief Justice, Sophia Akufu, to go into her archives and bring a certain phrase, pin brain. You remember that phrase, pin brain? That people had pin brain to think that it was right for her to sit in the house and not to complain when her investment into bonds was being eroded. So that is where we have been. But you see, we can also not reduce it to the NPP and NDC. I even disagree with the topic. This country is not for NDC and NPP. When you do that, then you narrow the discourse to these two political parties. There are more individuals interested in this country. And we cannot on the author of some of these things. So, Senator, in a nutshell, this is where we are. Let's give the praise to this administration for the stability. It is yes, when the tables turn, they will also have to bear the consequences of whatever happens, so that people will know that they bear the ultimate responsibility for anything that happens under their regime. Other than that, a party in opposition all that they are looking forward to is to be the center of attraction. Why people will revolve. There must be something that will always generate discussions about them, so that by so doing, then they begin to reorganize their base. And that is why I disagree with the NIB and the way they went Rambo style to Adenta Kumi. Who is Adenta Kumi for you to mass up and then go and then arrest Adenta Kumi? What is this? Hey, the security of this country has to be serious. You go to Adenta Kumi's house to go and arrest Adenta Kumi. For him to be released and go and stand at the NPP because we are the new Pastor Sangwa. When you could have easily invited Adenta Kumi. Just like the scenes you are creating in Wuntumi's house. The Ghanaian wants to have his peace of mind. And not to be taken through some of these unnecessary, needless ventures. Now, to wrap up with this cedi and dollar thing, you see these foreign banks who are in this country, and the national security must take it very serious. I don't know whether you have observed it. Ever since the cedi started stabilizing against the dollar, you see all of a sudden Absa Bank release a report that by the close of the year, the cedi will be at 14.5. Did you hear from Fitch that it will go back to 15? What do they think they are doing? These are national security concerns. That you are reassuring those that are holding dollars in their homes that do not panic to bring the dollars into the market, because by the close of the year it will be 14. This is a national security threat. When we say national security, it's not just putting on dark shades. These are the real issues that matter. You are outside, you are releasing it to me for me to do what? So that I should not go and then put the... But when indeed the focus of this is to make sure that the economy stabilizes for all of us to do well, we must take a second look at it and deal with some of these issues. I'll end it here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you just join us, we're still discussing the matter of the cedi. Now, this is a comment. Let me just go through a few comments before I go to Jifa for her views. This one says, how has Ghana's recent engagement with the IMF affected foreign investor confidence in the value of the cedi? What differentiates the NDC's proposed economic agenda from the NPP's when it comes to long-term currency stability? The third question the person is asking, how have global interest rate trends, especially from the US Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, affected the strength of the Ghana cedis? Vision in Tamale says, how can NPP convince any Ghanaian in his or her right senses to believe that credit for the appreciation of the cedi should not be given to the NDC? You were given a privilege to take care of businesses, then you chose to betray Ghanaians. Instead of you to keep apologizing to Ghanaians, you proceed to provoke us the more by comments you put out there, as if to suggest that our brains were replaced with yogurt. That's Vision who sent that from Tamale. This one says, I'm Toby Boso, Vagadechiababio, says politicians should bear in mind that they can't play with the mind of the citizens. Also, they are putting this nation into a great danger by the way they think the citizens will always be foolish. Besides, politicians should know that they are our children and do not own the resources, rather they are caretakers and must be ready all the time to account for their stewardship. cedi appreciation must be commendable, but accountability matters. Gold for oil must be investigated. Also, if you are out of power, avail yourself to be investigated and stop beating war drums, calling your followers to fight for you. Thanks. Toby, thank you very much for that comment. Alasa Hamdan from Nyohini says the appreciation of the cedi continues steadily. And let's be clear, this isn't due to any so-called gold reserve accumulation. It's the result of the unprecedented gold exports driven by Ghana Gold Board, coupled with tight monetary policies from the Bank of Ghana and responsible fiscal consolidation by the Ministry of Finance. This is real economic leadership at work. Thank you, President John Dramani Mahama, for delivering the strong and stable cedi Ghanaians deserve. I never knew my friend Alasa Hamdan was such a fantastic economist. This one says, Mordecai from 37 said the IGP should transfer the... Okay. Thank you. very much for the comment. And then Sneses, Senna, carefully listening to Mr. Solo and looking at Ghana from the little I know, I see that we have mostly the institutions and some systems that should allow us to thrive as a country, be it health, agriculture, and education. Probably we are where we are because of the coefficients like Solo said. This morning, the bus I took from Kanesha to Makola, though I was not going to Makola, they have reduced the fare by 15%. But the true calculation was not reflected in the new charges. For me, this behavior is what makes the good work by others, especially the president, look like nothing. Every bad behavior that goes against good things must be dealt with for proper growth with evident reflection. Sned, thank you very much, as always, for the comment. Stanley sent this from Brantu Buem constituency. Says, I'm still looking for the right words. In other words, the right adjectives for describing the persona. Okay. Okay. I think he has something else on his mind. Stanley. This one's a good morning. Solomon, keep it up. May the good Lord bless you. Some more comments. This one, Dr. Bawumia should stop commenting on economic issues. He should rather concentrate on his newfound field of digitalization. I need no other economic argument or lectures from Bawumia. It is enough to know that the city is appreciating that this is doing good to our economy. Jonas sent that one. If you just join us, the mother of all talk shows, Alaji and Alaji. Welcome. Jifa.
Sana, good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a long time I've been on the screen and I'm happy to be back. I'll try to be as consistent as possible.
We're all happy to see you.
You're happy to see you too. Uncle Kwesi had to drag me here today, but I'm happy to be back. I miss my friend Solo, my big boss here. But then, before I start on this CD appreciation, let me just take this opportunity as a baby girl of the NDC to welcome my mother back from her much-deserved break. I think that we're all happy to see her. We miss her so much. That's Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana.
Yeah.
We, the NDC, do not like covering up things unnecessarily. Even children get sick. When she got sick, we made it public because we owe that to the Republic of Ghana. We told everybody that she was not well. She had to go for immediate attention. People even said she was dead and said so many things. But we are happy that we are so transparent. And indeed, Ghanaians have seen that we spoke the truth. She's back in good health and is going to continue her job. So we are grateful for God's mercies upon her life. Sarah, let's just go into this game because I'm itching to talk about it. I get so excited when the NPP clearly draws a certain line. That when it is good, it is for us. When it is bad, no, it is your fault. Before I'll start everything, as a politician, I've just sat down these days. I've seen the goodwill that we have started with ever since the 7th of January, 2025. And then it draws my mind back to this Chi adage. You say, agro beswa ifrianapa. So the very initial stages of an issue will tell you whether it's going to go well or not. I'm saying this because we saw how the Akufo-Addo administration started in 2017. From plagiarism to mistakes to whatever, and we saw how it ended. We've seen how John Dramani Mahamad's administration has started. Transparency, strictness, boldness, taking very proper and straight decisions. Decisions that are going to benefit the country as a whole. That is why I say Agrobeswa Ifianapa, because I've seen so much goodwill that is coming forth. So much goodwill in us. The moment the city started appreciating, the first comments that were given by NPP faithfuls was, oh, it's just a 1 month thing. It's going to fall back. It's not feasible. Because, you know, in 2017 down to 2024, all we experienced was some gimmicks. Realize that when there is a lot of backlash on the government, then we'll see the cedi appreciating from 17 cedis to 16 cedis for a month. And then it shoots 3 cedis upwards. And so they thought this was going to be the same situation or a repetition of what they are doing. But unfortunately, it's not. It's a conscious and collective effort by the President of the Republic of Ghana and his team. It's a cocktail of things, majorly centered around exports. Because just within a year, according to the Bank of Ghana's reports, our exports have grown from 5.8 to 9.3 billion US dollars in just 2024 to 2025, as at April 2025. Gold alone is taking about 54% of that. Oil is taking much more, it has tripled. We have cocoa doing very well. And all this is within 1 year. So we'll see something. I heard my brother Solo mentioning the demand and supply of the city. So everybody knows this simple economics, is that if there is so much demand for the city, it will help the city be stronger. And so if you're exporting, that means there is a lot of demand for the city. If we put all this together, you realize that, okay, so the conscious effort of us raising our exports gains has contributed to this. Now, our finance minister mentioned something which is also very important, and I realize that a lot of people, even me, never even thought about it, and it's the discipline when it comes to spending as a government. The right choices being made, even when it comes to spending, all contributes to that. And so when we sit down and then the NPP now decides to come and brag and tell us why it is to their credit that the city is appreciating, it's a little appalling, if you ask me. It's a little appalling because everything in the government is supposed to be on a decision-making basis, right to who is the finance minister. And so who should I credit that to? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Because it's the qualities, the brains behind. And it is not about talking, it's about show working. Now the work is being shown, Sena. Nobody has to tell. For when this city started appreciating, the first thing that I said that I heard was people were saying that, oh no, it wasn't going to last. Now they realize that it is consistent and it is moving. And so they are saying, no, but it is us. We did it. We should be credited. To the extent that our former vice president had a program, is it over the weekend or something, and says that, okay, so NDC should mention one singular policy that should be credited, or that shows that supported the growth of the city. Why? What is singular policy? In which country is one particular item, just one item, responsible for the strength of their currency? So Bawumia now is trying to switch this whole thing and then, bring it to his side to make it look like he has a hand in it. 8 years in power, and from Mr. Economy to now digital, he refused to even address issues of the economy. Have we forgotten so soon that Bawumia refused to address issues of the economy again because apparently he had no grasp, he had no grip on it? And now he's questioning how. No, it is leadership. It's a solid leadership, bold decisions that are being made that is contributing to the strength of the city, and that is what he should be reminded. Now, if he had any shame as a person, if the former vice president had any shame, he wouldn't even be seen or heard during this period. Is it not so embarrassing that you couldn't do this in 8 years and somebody has done it in less than 5 months, and you have the audacity to be questioning? Okay, NDC, point out what single policy that backed this whole appreciation of city. You can't point. And that is what he's doing. I feel that it is all a plot to stay relevant because he has lost his relevance. And we've all heard that he wants to come back running as president. And so he needs to talk about very important economic issues to make him stay afloat and relevant in his political party so that he can win his primaries when it is time. But aside that, he's a shameless man, if you ask me. It's embarrassing. Not even to talk about the fact that, let's not even talk about age. It's intellect, fine. But we are doing what he could never have done. He should have some dignity and keep quiet. That is all I ask of Bawumia. And you get other Ghanaians or NPP supporters supporting him and asking, oh, but it's just 6 months into government, and so we have also contributed to a very large extent as a party. Then why are you not taking responsibilities for other things as well? Other things like the power crisis that started in 2024, beginning of 2024, that was very glaring. Why is the NPP or the opposition trying to make it look like it is our fault when clearly Ghanaians remember that they have mismanaged the energy sector? Why are they not taking that blame? So it is good when it is positive. When it is positive, it's for them. But when it is negative, we should bear the cost of it. I think it is hypocrisy. And there is a limit to what we can take as human beings. There is a limit to what Ghanaians have the time to stomach these days. I pray that as we are seeing so much improvement in the city, we Ghanaians also do our part. And this is a particular subject that I am very passionate about. We've said so much. Who should be credited to the city's appreciation? We've said how it has been gained, and we are looking at how to maintain it, to get it as lowest as possible. But there is a canker that is rotten, that is beyond politics. Let us be honest. I started by seeing videos online about people in the US and the UK, the diaspora, calling to complain about how strong the city was now, because now when they send their dollars, it is small, it's not able to pay up for big things, and it looks like a joke. But I feel it is sheer witchcraft, if there is anything like that, because this is what every Ghanaian has preached for how long? Since the independence of Ghana, that the cedi needs to be strong. The cedi against the dollar is doing bad. The cedi against the dollar is crippling people's businesses. Now it is strong, and we have people complaining. That is number one. Number two, you hear about Okan's spare parts dealers telling you that, well, the fact that the cedi is stabilizing doesn't change prices, or doesn't automatically change prices. It may take a very long while, or they have to clear their goods first. Who should take this burden? And this is to Ghanaians. This is not even political at all. The same Owusu Reacted spare parts dealers that had parties and who did whatever when NPP came to power because they thought that they were going to fly over the roof, got so disappointed, took their support behind NPP, and their singular most important issue is the dollar, the strength of the cedi, the continuous depreciation of the cedi. That has been their problem. This has been addressed in a very beautiful way. We are stunned by the performance of the cedi so far, and they come out and this is what they say. Sana, you have hotels massaging their prices, because if they were supposed to be taking $100, the normal 1,500 Ghana cedi, 1,600 cedis is not sufficient for them, because they've been charging in dollars and they insist something that is supposed to be illegal. I have a very big problem with why local businesses keep charging and insisting to be paid in dollars equivalent. After enjoying all that because of the continuous fall of the cedi, today the cedi is doing better, and hotels are massaging. You go and it's $100 there. You want to pay $100 equivalent, and they'll tell you, well, but it is 1,500 or 1,600 and not 1,200. Why? Why should it be that? Should this also be the government? Why should it be that you have real estate companies selling houses $100,000, $200,000, and just when the cedi had dropped, before you realize you want to pay for that same price because you know it's $100,000 equivalent, and they've calculated it as 17 cedis for you and say no, they are not charging in dollars again. They are charging this. First of all, why should businesses, local businesses, insist on being paid in dollars? That is the problem. Number two, I do not know a single company or a single society, trade society in Ghana who hasn't complained about the gross depreciation of the cedi since time immemorial. We have experienced this beautiful appreciation that we are expecting to maintain and even to do better. And businesses are cheating us. We are cheating ourselves. I think Ghanaians need to do better. This is up to us. And I do not know if we have to really call the law enforcement to make sure that businesses and hotels and whatever are held accountable for the prices that they charge. Because how then is it going to impact on Ghanaian lives? If the city is doing well and businesses refuse to adjust, how then is it going to impact on Ghanaian lives? So you see, there are times where people will come up and then just bash the government, bash political parties, bash politicians, degrade them and scrap them neatly, as though the entire problems of Ghanaians rest on the shoulders of political parties and the government. Today, we are seeing appreciation in the city. Beautiful. Everybody says it's right. And Ghanaians, the middlemen, are holding us to ransom. You are not letting go. So the people down there are not feeling the impact of the changes that are supposed to be happening, the changes that are supposed to affect all of us. You have people holding on to their price. They'll tell you that, okay, I bought it at this price at that time. Somebody has to lose something. Somebody has to sacrifice something. You have to adjust. You have to adjust, because if you bought something at the price of when the dollar was about 16 cedis and it's not being sold in a year, are you not going to sell it? Because you get that money and you go and buy that same item again at the price of 10 cedis. Now the dollar is about 11 cedis. So Senna, aside who is going to take credit, and we know who is supposed to take credit, we know who has done this, we know who has put all these measures in place for us to have a stable economy or a recovering economy at such a fast rate. Today we are recognized globally as one of the few, I think it's one of the first 5 currencies globally that has like bounced back like that. And so for the first time in more than 3 years, we've seen this spike that we've never seen before. I think it's up to us to decide to hold on to something. It's up to Ghanaians. Let's stop being hypocrites. Let's call out people. Let's call out businesses who are trying to cheat us. Let's call out business. And if you're a business holder, please let go. You know, people are they are too engraved in getting extreme profits. There is greediness in the system, and it is only being exposed because of what has happened recently. If not, everybody sits in the comfort of their rooms and want to blame government and politicians for more mishandling the economy. But you realize that the canker is here, and we would also see a lot of the canker when we go into the topic of the floods. So I am happy to say that as such a competent government as the NDC government is going to expose a lot of the rot that the basic citizen, the normal citizen, does every day. And so now mark my words, that a competent government as NDC is going to expose a lot of the rot coming from the grassroots, coming from the normal citizen. Because of how we have had a lot of governments mismanaging the country, a lot of political parties mismanaging the country, or politicians pulling scandals, it covers up that minority, let me say yes, that fraction of Ghanaians that are actually enabling corruption, enabling rot in the country. We have taken all that blame. But when the country is running as well as it is now, you will see that it will be bare. You will see how corrupt the normal citizen who is not a politician is. We have started seeing it. You will see how corrupt the businessman who has nothing to do with politics or government is. You will see how corrupt the Aboso kind spare parts dealers are. You will see how corrupt the real estate industry is. And you realize that the name corruption that has been attached to government and politicians is a hoax. Corruption lives in our soul and lives in the roots where we come from. It lives in our villages. So even though I'm here today to just, express excitement about how things are going, I also came with one particular message, that this year, Ghanaians are going to witness the corruption of the individual, the corruption of the businessman. We will see more of that than politicians. And then probably we'll have a certain sense of awareness where we will start working on ourselves, and that will be the biggest liberation for Ghana. That we can work on ourselves and do what is right and make sure that we abide by the laws, so that everybody can get a bit of the national cake. Everybody can get a bit of what they deserve, and that we live in a very liberal world. That is where we are going to succeed as a country. This is just the forefront. This is just the forefront. The major job itself is on us. And I'm really hoping that a lot of Ghanaians take it into consideration, that we owe it to ourselves to all support the finance minister, to support the president and the government in making sure that the cedi appreciation extends and affects, or should I say is able to affect everything that we do. We have to make sure that we make changes in our businesses and in our bargains as per what is going on, so that everybody can be liberated from it. And then, for all you know, by the end of the 4-year term of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the cedi could go back as low as when he took off. That is, I think, 3 cedi to $1. It can. I think it is possible, Senna. If we do it very well, if in how many months it has left 15 cedis and it's 11 cedis, I think it is possible. But then we cannot do it alone. The government cannot do it alone. The finance minister, Honorable Atuforsen, cannot do it alone. He does it to some extent, and then we take the mantle from there as citizens and spread it down by how we price, by how we adjust our prices, by how we reduce the demand for the dollar. And as I said, I'm hoping that businesses learn from this, know that the cedi is strong enough, and not put all their hopes in charging things in dollars, so they do not meet this bad end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Na edu is a point we NDC communicator na dina nusi ba na dina nusi na ba konso esansu na otoro boase e chire the gold board no embra e back no how a omusi operate, even omubaye within few months your mu pass man ye bill and as omu pass a man ye mbre, how it has benefited, I mean, the economy, ye kapwa ni di, how a estimate SCP some of the can egu, and as what shape some of the can egu, na ene amasa, I mean, economy no agina so owura no echechense ni musie na mempese mekasa hu bibiri ye beko na yakwakotie enchiremu a ode emaye efa the gold board no ye wura samijemfi ne baby oye CEO no ye nkotie nsema owura no editu edwa efa sansem ho na mesana sere wonya subscribe ya subscribe, wonya like ya like, wonya share ya share, na foforo enye bihwe yentie nsem no na eto aso na isi a yedi naka ina ebeto aso.
Is listening to us. Pretending to be meditating. Solomon, I listened to you on the radio when I was coming here, and I liked your analysis. But just to say that they should arrest the criminals. If it means sending battalions of national security men to their houses, they should.
Some of them are
we were harassed in opposition. On this platform, I expressed an opinion. I couldn't sleep. My brother Kusipra had to come to my aid. I couldn't sleep. Yeah. I mean, I was harassed.
You say you are resetting. So reset.
So they shouldn't think that they alone have some. I was really harassed. I was finally, as a lawyer, I was finally summoned. The court warrant was issued. Bail warrant was issued for my arrest, and I had to enter the dock for the judge to now hand me over to the police. Hey, what are they talking about? But Jifa, there is some level of deliberateness and intentionality in what we are seeing today. It's a culmination of prudential policies, expenditure, and outcomes. But NPP or our detractors are failing, refusing and neglecting to recognize that. Look, when Atufoso went to Parliament, the 2025 budget, he went with a guiding principle. And let me share it with you. Many people have missed that guiding principle. He stated, the state of the economy of Ghana is troubling. It will require some sacrifices, truthfulness, transparency, and discipline to fix it. This was the guiding principle he stated. And that is what we are seeing today in this country. Yes, foreign exchange volatility affects planning. Businessmen, all of us who were into some form of businesses while in opposition, were robbed of our ability to plan. Because you go to buy fuel, and the whole 225 liters of fuel, which is a drum, at the beginning of 2017 was 1,500 Ghana cedis. By 2022, it was 3,400, 3,500. Inflation had run to 54%. And Solomon, it is not only when cedis are chasing dollars that depreciates our currency. It is also when the money supply, the cedi supply in the system is just too much that the cedi itself loses the value. And that's what we saw. Why do you think that the activities of the governor of the central bank threw about 1 million people into poverty? The 1 million people did not require dollars. The purchase price parity had simply fallen, and the amount of money that they had sitting in their accounts had lost value just because of the money supply. So John Dramani Mahama, in campaigning to be president, said, look, it was important and time enough to reset the country. And the reset is what she has spoken about. And we'll come to it, the flats. And I see that this reset agenda is even animating some of these assemblies already. Because I was pleasantly surprised when I was moving along the Newtown Road and seeing some activities going on. I may have lived in Newtown for God knows how many years. It was only yesterday that I saw that something was happening. Let's pray that it continues. But what was the status quo before NDC took over? The status quo was that the NPP government was running a gold for oil policy. So gold was in the metrics, not so, but the gold was for oil. But what we didn't know was the policy that informed that activity. And Solomon has alluded to it. Up to now, nobody knows the amount of money that this country used to buy the gold. And what was the quantity of oil that we got in return. Up to now that we speak. Nobody knows. Now, nobody knows how the person, the third party, who was constituted to take our gold, take it abroad, sell, and procure us the oil, how he was selected. Nobody knows. Was he also part of the state capture? Most likely. But everybody knows that even with the gold for oil policy running, our cedi was trading at between 16 and 17 cedis to the dollar. So that could not have been the basis for a reduction or an increase in the value of the cedi in 2025. Now, we also knew that they were running gold for reserves, where they got about 30 tons of gold, and that gold is sitting in the Bank of England. Solomon says he doesn't agree with the gold sitting in the Bank of England, but that is what it is. So they bought the reserves, but that reserves is still there. We have since added about 1 kilo to it, 1 ton to it, but that reserves is still there. That reserves only serves to assure our creditors that if push comes to shove, we have money in store. That reserve cannot be the basis for the reduction, for the increase in value of the cedi. Now, when they were doing these two programs, gold for oil, gold for reserves, between 2022 and 2023, Ghana could not account for $1.7 billion worth of gold exported out of this country. So again, we were not getting full value for these policies. And the records are there. I'm not dreaming it up. The records are there. If you just go, if you want, if you can even Google. Recently, Mohammed Ibn Chambers speaking at a program referred to the loss of Ghana's gold. Now, the strengthening of the cedi has shaved off, just like my hair has shaved off. And you also have the same head like mine. 172 billion Ghana cedis from our debt. 172 billion, just by increasing the cedi gaining in weight. When you reconfigure our debt, we've gained. So it means that those who have been trading in cedis within the country are gaining. Your cedi, if you had cedis and it was in the bank, you had bought treasury bills, your cedi is still the value and the amount is still the same. No, the amount is still the same, but the value has automatically increased for you. It also means that public sector workers are gaining because they are paid in cedis. There have not been increases in their salary, but what they can now use their salary to acquire in terms of goods and services is more. That's what it means. So benefits are coming. Immediate benefits you can see on the screens of oil marketing companies. Immediate, because they buy their crude with dollars, and the dollar has now diminished in value. So we are gaining. They are passing it on to us. So there are gains, but there are also losses. Those who exported their goods bought goods here and exported to Europe and other places in dollars will lose substantial amounts. Will lose because they will be paid back in dollars, and the dollars cannot get them the cedis that they use to purchase those goods to export. Also, spare parts workers might not be able to immediately reduce prices because they brought in the goods at a certain cedi rate. But because they have the goods, price volatility is sticky. So at that point, they will want to recover as much as possible. But I'm sure if the trend, and Mr. Kosiprat always says it, if the trend continues, then they will be forced to reduce the price. So we must continue with the policy of the cedi gaining value amid balancing. And this I borrowed from Mr. Kosiprat, balancing. Now, the issue is this. So when NDC came into office, the stability of the currency was a key major headache. How do we stabilize the policy, the currency? Because businessmen, when John Dramani Mahama was campaigning to be president, remember? He met all business associations. he met traders in the markets, and their major concern was the volatility, the increasing and consistent weakness of the cedi that was hampering their business activities. Now, even in opposition, we thought that the best way to deal with the cedi is to take control of our natural resources. Because when you have natural resources, you export those natural resources and you receive dollars for the natural resources. And so you will have enough of the dollars to go around. And that is where Solomon said, the demand for the dollars will be managed in such a way that dollars will be available. And so far, about $500 million have been put in the system through auction to stabilize the cedi. And then we said, so every country has the sole preserve of determining how they want to treat their natural resources. That's why Burkina Faso, they decided that they will sell, or in Niger, don't sell uranium to France. And they want it, if France wants to buy, France must buy it like any other country. And they want their uranium sold at competitive prices. Because it's their natural resource. That is why Burkina Faso is saying that the agricultural resource of tomatoes, they are no longer going to allow people to come into their country and buy their tomatoes. They want to convert, add value to their tomatoes and can them. So if you go to buy, you can only buy processed tomatoes because they want to reduce poverty in Burkina Faso. It's their sole right. In Ghana here, we're also determined that in the small scale and artisanal mining sector, government wants to have the sole right and authority to trade in that sector. You can call it monopolistic or whatever name you want to give to it. Ghana is now exercising the right of domain in that sector. If you want gold, go to the gold board. You will get gold. If you have partners in India and they want gold, go to the gold board. You will get the gold. But your partners must first pay the money to a designated account at Bank of Ghana in dollars. And then we will use cedis to do what? To buy the gold and supply. So we can account for the gold that we supply and minimize the smuggling and leakages. And so far, Gold Board, just in the few months of existence, have raked in about $2 billion. And the situation can only continue. So there has been an institutional change to the way we dealt with our gold. It's no longer a free for all. It's no longer a matter where people can come in and buy. Our dollars will no longer, our money, our gold will remain accounted for as much as possible. We have taken control of our resources, particularly gold. If this is not a policy, tell me what that is. And it's a policy with marked departure from the policies introduced by the NPP. Now, to do this, we've even given this policy legal backing. The first act of parliament to be passed by this current 9th parliament is the Gold Board. Apart from passing the Appropriation Act and all those, but that is for the budget. The first one, and reduce and then amending the laws to remove e-levy and others. The first major act, let me put it that way, of Parliament is the establishment of the Gold Board. And we had free education up to now. There's no law backing it. There's no law. It's a major policy. It was a flagship. Yeah, you said we shouldn't touch the one district, one factory thing. What's the policy? There's no law backing it. One district, one dam. It's a policy. There's no law backing it.
So for now, dear, it is loud and clear. CMPP, ACO position. Where Meya Kapontum Au Nya. See of Akum as many see Meya Kapontum Au. Shout out to is it or Hannibal Kisiana Bisa, the Dilumba right? Quantum. You see, I this for Bomhomadin. And this is why MPP for Mpese on the bomb basso. And with the normal politics of and MPP for Nkamubit Mababontin Abeka. The NDC for or my idea into your gun and ya back your more. Let's support them. No muntimia more. But MPP for so say on the Babontin and Babeka send NDC for yard, Not Ghana for. Like I say, oh, I'm pa. And let the moment who say mobile man ya dear wa bam into mu opponent and no mu ye juma. NDC MPP for so mbebo NDC apaso. One kasa tifi ye ku faru tifi e boni tinko say he amumu ni na kwame aye John Dramani Mahama ebu mai man ye fe. Sana yewra na do kwa kufaru otifi a okan oboni tinko sa say hey amamu papa de unyanta amamu papa hwan eni benya amamu papa hwan eni benya. What I say? So ayana mama so monka sentiment na se no monka se de NDC for yi yanso ye ba ajanum ye be yi bi ato aso amana ye fe asensi eti nkebe ya e ka momboaye na yeso 2028 momfa embre bi ni meto NDC case but MPP minim no ebetena wono ma pretend as if say the NDC for ye enye. And then Ebema Ghana for your bufu, and Ebema Ghana for your who say these people are hypocrites. These people are, hypocrites. We are very hypocrites at its highest peak. Hypocrisy at its highest peak. And then the meaning no corridi. MPP for academic. MPP for CC Minister Parliament crowd more recess or mabo. You see, I feel no marking and no who do on yet or down on that. They can't sleep because Omuni is a baby. I didn't do the more you din their momo, the more you din papa their momo. And take a chairman. Munya Konya Namuba Baimua, Sebia Brusi Binyado, Montotunia Maye, Namunjata Mudio Mainisika, Mudio Mainisika Yedia Mope, Namudi Yesin Mudi Yesin, and the Monsenka Mubian Kamua Baimo. And then MPP for Mubinya and Kamutia Baimo. But I hear too late. It's too late. You people, you are gonna be in a position for a decade. Either you like it or not, you are gonna be in a position for a decade because Ghanaians gave you the opportunity for you to utilize it. You couldn't. You rather squandered our monies. You rather misused our resources. You embezzled our funds. Moye niema ini kwansi na ye etwaye mpoa ekansem edichire Ghana. Ene NDC Yewra John Mahama say record obeseti no political party in Ghana would set that record. The legacy will be Ghana. Or say no political party will set that legacy. And we know say Yewra John, what can he say no? He can do it. Obetimi aye because of the washase or how washase es niemana. It tells you clearly that this man, he is serious. He's really serious and wants to work. Very serious and wants to work. Iti John na ni nim 2016 ana nkofo boni din ana mo twetwe no John dunso ene he is not no more John na yihu na na twetwe na ne won say you John Muhammad of Sadi when you respect be wo Ghana ha uboni din a wo NPP ni kwa no su no fere agise omo mu bu omo ho sebi agise omo mu enbu bi mfere bibi ena mbebo papa ni din tu ase ombe cancer mbona edi ache no but ye nim say oman no omuti enhihye egu okwam ema ne oman ni eda na kwanso de you will always give respect to the man. You will always give respect to the man. And you will always applaud the man because wayebi papa hopa au guswa oye juma. Eti abusanfo sana adene akoye eti Solomon Owusu no kware pa ro kan oba no so waya ade wakan kware yenya ma o mutikuru mo kan kware as a politician san komai we any problem But oba obekwa kwaji sika obekwa kwa nanti baby na fe do betena TV so na waton na adwen yemfa wisi me ma me chie ba for United States of America yakupo shira ma me roye bi wo UK yakupo nyokese obi ahwe bega TV no yakupo nkoswa shira nti abusuafo ehia me pa subscribe o subscribe of comment to like share na for enye bi hwe wate ase na bibi ntimi nkoso hanom most entrusted #1 YouTube platform. In fact, Mega TV ade yamfa ndi agro. Ebe mu hu Ghana nkoso Ghana sebi politics a ewo se oti amambu nsema so oti bia na obenya no wa. Oman ni mu nsemi na no obenya no wa. Current news obenya no wa. News update obenya no wa. It is subscribe. Na bibi ntimi nkoso ye ma a lot of information. Because media be try a national asset, a national platform, and our show is Bega TV, a national platform. We are the only YouTube channel. Yantrasin kasi yedwoman DC, yantrasin kasi yedwoman PP, yantrasin kasi yedwoman Ghana. We are national. It's a GTV, Ghana Television. Ghana assets. It a BBF for my hubiano. We are interested in. Eti no so be subscribe na do comment to na wa like na wa share. That is fine. That is all. Any here fidi ho no. Eti yen sa ma me. Akopon koso a hira wate. O hwe wo so. O ma wo nan empembo. No tutu na mo si na otwem. Ofa engine baby a ho krom. Bibi ntimi koso. Wa no emfa mo. Ka say amen. Bye bye.